Line. It's the simplest, yet most versatile tool in any artist's arsenal. A single line can tell a story, suggest movement, or convey emotion. It's the first thing we learn to draw as children and remains one of the most fundamental elements of art, connecting two points to create shapes, textures, and meaning. In this video, we're going to explore how artists use line as a building block for drawing, and I'll share some of my own thoughts and techniques on harnessing its power. What is line? At its core, a line is just a mark that connects two points. But in drawing, line does so much more. It helps us outline shapes, create texture, and add movement or energy to a piece. Whether you're sketching quickly to capture an idea, building structure for a more finished work, or exploring the emotional impact of mark making, line is always there, quietly doing the heavy lifting. Types of lines. To understand line in art, let's break it down into a few different types. First, we have contour lines, the clean, deliberate lines that define the edges of a form. Contour drawing is about observation and precision, capturing the shape of an object. Think of a hand, for example. If you slowly draw its outline, carefully following every curve, you're using contour lines. Then there are gesture lines, which are the opposite, quick, fluid marks that focus on movement and energy rather than details. Gesture drawing is especially useful for life drawing or action poses because it forces you to capture the essence of a subject in seconds. Next, we have implied lines. These are lines that aren't physically drawn but are suggested by the alignment of shapes, the direction of someone's gaze, or even an edge of shadow. Implied lines guide the viewer's eye without being overt. For example, if someone is pointing, our eye naturally follows the implied line created by their arm. And then there's the world of hatching and cross-hatching lines, parallel or intersecting lines that add shading, tone, and texture to a drawing. This overlaps with other techniques like stippling, but with lines, you're using repetition and rhythm to build up form and depth. Finally, there are expressive lines, which carry emotion. These are lines that are felt as much as seen. A jagged, harsh line might communicate tension or chaos, while a smooth, flowing curve evokes calm or grace. As an artist, you can manipulate these qualities to give your drawings mood and personality. The role of line in drawing. So why is line so powerful? Because it's foundational to everything we draw. Lines are essential for structure. Whether you're sketching a face, a figure, or a landscape, lines give you a framework to build upon. Think about how stick figures or simple grids help you map proportions. They're just basic lines. Lines also define shape and form. When you outline an object or carve out details with marks, you're using lines to suggest volume and dimension. You can even create the illusion of three-dimensionality by varying the thickness of a line or using contour shading. But lines do more than build structure. They also add movement. Diagonal lines, swooping curves, or jagged edges give energy to a composition. Think of the difference between a calm horizon line versus the tension of slanted, dynamic marks. By simply changing the direction of your lines, you can make a piece feel alive. Beyond that, lines create texture and detail. Layers of fine, repeated marks can suggest materials like fur, wood grain, or fabric. It's all about how you combine and overlap your lines. And finally, lines have an emotional impact. A thick, bold line might feel strong or confident, while delicate, wispy lines suggest fragility or lightness. This is where the quality of a line becomes important. How much pressure you apply, how fast you move your hand, and what kind of tool you use all affect the way your line feels. How to practice and demonstrate line. So, how can you practice using line effectively? Here are a few exercises I recommend. Start with varying line weight. Redraw a simple subject, like a leaf or a hand, and experiment with thicker, heavier lines in the foreground and thinner, lighter lines for the background. This instantly adds depth and emphasis to your work. Next, try continuous line drawing. Without lifting your pencil from the paper, draw a subject in one unbroken line. It's great for improving flow and observation. Plus, it's a fun challenge. For contour practice, focus on slowly and deliberately outlining the edges of an object. Take it a step further with blind contour drawing, where you look only at your subject and not at your paper. It might look messy, but it sharpens your ability to see. Then there's gesture drawing. Set a timer for 30 seconds or 2 minutes and draw quick, loose sketches of figures or objects in motion. Don't worry about details, just capture the energy and flow of the subject. And finally, experiment with expressive lines. Try drawing the same subject using jagged lines, then smooth curves. Pay attention to how each version feels emotionally. While line can communicate our style or feelings, it's also the way we write words and symbols. For example, we can make a distinction between the way symbolism works between colors versus lines. Optical colors can be broken into a mathematical model that covers the entire range of observable colors, while the same exhaustive mathematical model is not possible with line. Yes, lines can be defined geometrically as points of X and Y. However, we can't make it into hex codes, for example. This allows line to be more open-ended with what meaning it presents to the viewer. To wrap up, here's an exercise to try. You don't need any tools for this one. Try looking for implied lines as you walk around during your day. Look to the floor to see the grid we designed. Look at nature to see rhythm and texture. Look at people and think about how the lines are proportioned. Look at graphic design to see how the layout aligns everything. Think of some other implied lines to look for and count how many you see during the day. Do that for a week, and maybe it will boost your perception capabilities. You'll find that it's not so easy to count and categorize the types of line you see, and that it would require a lot of mental energy to do so.
Memories trace every spark, holding close when times are dark. Shadows play on canvas ground in the quiet